What's up, friends? We're not here, and you're on the MMA Fight Channel. Today, we're breaking down how UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi went down. The card was headlined by heavyweights Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane. In the co-main event, we had another title fight, Jandiro versus Dern. We also saw Umar Nurmagomedov take on Mario Bautista, and many others. Let's get into it. Jacqueline Amorim versus Mizuki Inoue. Jacqueline Amorim made her UFC debut in 2023 with a decision loss to Sam Hughes. After that, the Brazilian never lost again, and she came into this fight on a 4-fight finishing streak. Mizuki Inoue debuted in the UFC back in 2019, but has only had 3 fights in the promotion this whole time. Jacqueline Amorim was a massive favorite, but she looked lackluster in the fight. She lost all 3 rounds. The first was competitive thanks to 2 minutes of control time from Amorim and her submission attempts, but the second and third rounds were completely one-sided. Amorim was even taking shots on the ground or getting outstruck on the feet. She just had no answer with her hands. It was a dominant victory for Mizuki with scores of 30-27, 30-27, and 29-28 for Mizuki by unanimous decision. And there's your first upset of the night. Asad Maksoum versus Mitch Raposo. Asad Maksoum missed weight for the bantamweight limit and will forfeit 30% of his purse to his opponent. Maksoum came into the UFC undefeated, but lost a very close fight to Tagir Ulanbekov in his last outing. His opponent, Mitch Raposo, isn't in the best spot either, having lost both of his UFC fights. Raposo started the fight with an explosive combination, and it was immediately clear he had the speed advantage over Maksoum. He mixed in his wrestling, landed a couple of takedowns, and controlled his opponent on the ground to win the first round. The second round was more of the same, with Raposo outstriking Maksoum. In the final round, Maksoum went for the wrestling right away, but was only successful for the first minute and a half before Raposo took back control. The referee also deducted a point from Asad for grabbing the cage. The fight went the full 3 rounds, and the judges' scorecards read 30-26, 29-27, and 29-28 for Mitch Raposo by unanimous decision. Kamdi Abdelkadir versus Chris Barnett. Kamdi Abdelkadir had already fought twice this year. First, he defeated Jamal Pogues, and then he fell short against Muhammad Usman. Chris Barnett had been out for a whole year. Last October, at the Abu Dhabi event, Barnett injured his leg before the fight even started and then lost by TKO to Kennedy Nzechukwu. Tonight, both fighters were looking to bounce back from a loss. For 3 rounds, Abdelkadir absolutely dominated Chris Barnett on the ground with strikes, but just couldn't get the finish. It's worth noting that in the first round, he landed a clean elbow to the back of the head, which is illegal, and had a point deducted for it. Abdelkadir wins by unanimous decision, taking every round. Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Delgado. Nathaniel Wood's fights often go to decision, but they're rarely boring. In his last fight, the Englishman defeated Morgan Charrier, extending his winning streak to 2. His opponent, Jose Delgado, get this, he's on a 7-fight finishing streak. He joined the UFC this year and already has 2 knockouts. Let's see what happens tonight. Round 1, Delgado throws a head kick, followed by a back fist, and Wood is dropped. That looked spectacular. He couldn't get the finish, but Delgado kept pouring on the strikes. Wood's face was a mess, and it looked like it was over. But right at the end of the round, Wood answers with a knockdown of his own. He didn't manage to steal the round, but he definitely wowed the fans. The second and third rounds were dead even. Both fighters are incredibly skilled on the feet. There were plenty of exchanges and not wild brawling either. Everything looked so technical and crisp. The fans were split, but the judges weren't. They unanimously gave the win 29-28 to Nathaniel Wood. Walter Walker versus Luis Sutherland. Walter Walker is on an impressive streak of 3 straight first-round heel hook victories. His opponent is Luis Sutherland. Sutherland was supposed to make his debut back in September, but his fight with Justin Tafa was canceled after Tafa got sick. And now he's matched up with Walker. And he did it again. A 4th victory by heel hook in the very first round. Walter Walker gets a quick win with a heel hook. This is incredible. It's such a rare submission that you almost never see in the UFC, but Walker wins with it every single time. Wow. Ludovic Klein versus Mateusz Webecki. Ludovic Klein had a chance to break into the top ranks against Mateusz Gamrot, but he couldn't get past the pole, and Klein lost for the first time in 8 fights. Mateusz Webecki has been putting on absolute wars in his recent performances. Just think about his fights with Duncan and Rajabov. In the very first minute, Ludovic Klein clips Mateusz and gets him wobbled. He did a little dance, but recovered. However, the first and second rounds clearly went to Klein. He was outstriking him, he was faster in the exchanges, more accurate from a distance, and Webecki's face was completely busted up. But in the third round, Mateusz rose from the ashes, switched to his wrestling, took Klein down, and started hammering him with ground and pound. He even got to the crucifix position. On top of that, Klein seemed to have injured his leg. Klein lost the third round decisively. The result? Ludovic Klein wins by majority decision in this slugfest. A fantastic fight, and these guys definitely earned their $50,000 bonus. Ikram Aliskarev versus Junyoung Park. Ikram Aliskarev already fought once this year, knocking out Andre Muniz and bouncing back from his loss to Whitaker. His opponent, Junyoung Park, is only lost once in his last 7 fights, also to Andre Muniz. He's coming off a win over Ismail Nordiev. The guys fought all 3 rounds, and every round looked pretty much the same. It was competitive on the feet. Park landed some good shots, and Ikram landed a great knee to the head, for example, but the wrestling made all the difference in this fight. Ikram Aliskarev gets a clear 30-27 from all 3 judges and wins by unanimous decision. Nasrat Haqparast versus Quinlan Salklid. Nasrat Haqparast is on a 5-fight winning streak and is getting very close to breaking into the lightweight top 15. In March of this year, Haqparast defeated Esteban Rabovic by decision. Quinlan Salklid just joined the UFC this year, but has already made a lot of noise. In February, he knocked out Anshul Jubli in 19 seconds, and later in June, he beat Yanal Asmus over 3 rounds. Quinlan Salklid scores one of the best knockouts of the year. This is one of the most brutal KOs you'll see. A clean head kick, and Nasrat Haqparast is out cold. A beautiful finish. It took a long time for Haqparast to come to. This knockout will definitely be on the best of the year list. Alexander Rakic versus Azamat Murzakanov. Alexander Rakic has lost his last 3 fights, getting knocked out by Yuri Prochazka and losing a decision to Magomed Ankalaev exactly a year ago. Azamat is an undefeated fighter who has won all 5 of his UFC fights, 4 by knockout. Tonight's fight is a chance for Azamat to make a huge statement. In the very first round, Azamat Murzakanov knocked out Alexander Rakic. He caught him with a power jab as a counter when Rakic was coming into attack. Instead of landing an attack, he got knocked out. A spectacular finish from Azamat Murzakanov. He wins by TKO in the first round.
Alexander Volkov versus Jailton Almeida. In his last fight, Alexander Volkov lost a close decision to Ciryl Gane. Jailton Almeida is coming off 2 submission wins over Sergey Spivak and Alexander Romanov. Tonight's fight is a chance for both Volkov and Almeida to stake their claim as the next contender for the heavyweight belt. Almeida gets a takedown in the first few seconds and controls Volkov on the ground. But with 2 minutes left, Volkov reverses the Brazilian and works from the top for the last 2 minutes, possibly stealing the first round. 1-0 Volkov. Second round, Almeida shoots for a takedown in the first exchange and gets it. He controlled the round, so now it's 1-1. The final, decisive third round. Almeida couldn't get the takedown right away and was eating knees in the clinch against the fence. However, by the middle of the round, he managed to get it to the mat. He controlled passively while Volkov kept throwing shots even from the bottom. In the end, another controversial decision from the judges, and the win goes to Alexander Volkov. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Bautista. In January, Umar Nurmagomedov had a chance to fight for the title against Merab Gvasilishvili, but it didn't happen. Mario Bautista is on an 8-fight winning streak and is trying to get into title contention. Umar wrestled Bautista for all 3 rounds. Mario looked pretty good. He avoided being finished and was very slippery. He even dropped Umar with a kick in the 2nd round but couldn't capitalize. Still, Umar was just better in the wrestling department. Both guys fought their hearts out and put on a good show. By unanimous decision, with scores of 30-27, Umar Nurmagomedov gets the win. Co-main event of the evening. Weili Zhang vacated the women's strawweight belt to have a super fight with Valentina Shevchenko. A fight for the vacant belt was immediately booked between Virna Jandiroba and Mackenzie Dern. Jandiroba is on a 5-fight winning streak. In April of this year, she beat Yan Zhao Nan to secure her spot as the #1 contender. Dern put on a dominant main event performance in January, catching Amanda Ribas with an armbar. Jandiroba and Dern have actually fought before in the UFC back in 2020, with Mackenzie winning by decision. The ladies went all 5 rounds. It's hard to call it an exciting fight, but you couldn't call it boring either. It just felt like the women lacked that fight-ending power to make it spectacular. Mackenzie outlanded Virna in significant strikes in every single round, except for one, which was a draw. Yes, Virna did more wrestling and got takedowns, but that's about all she did. By unanimous decision, the winner and new UFC Women's Strawweight Champion is Mackenzie Dern. Main event of the evening. Tom Aspinall won the interim title in 2023 and defended it in 2024. This summer, Jon Jones announced his retirement, and just like that, Aspinall became the undisputed heavyweight champion. He's making his first defense of the official title against Ciryl Gane. Gane has had 2 shots at the title before. First, the Frenchman lost to Francis Ngannou, and then he lost to Jon Jones. And now his 3rd attempt is against Aspinall. Aspinall started the fight very aggressively, coming forward with punches right away. He was targeting the head but lacked the accuracy to catch Gane, and his takedowns weren't working either. Gane looked better, keeping Tom at a distance, counter-striking, busting up Tom's nose, and working his jab and kicks well. Gane found his rhythm. He was clearly the more accurate striker. During one of Aspinall's attacks, Gane poked him directly in the eye, and the fight was paused. Aspinall was given a few minutes to recover, but he said he couldn't see out of that eye and couldn't continue fighting. The fight is stopped and declared a no contest, meaning the fight is considered to have not happened. It's a real shame we couldn't see the end of this fight. Maybe these guys will run it back in a rematch soon. What do you guys think about this fight and the card overall? Let me know in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel. See you soon, friends. Peace out.